who would like to give us a recap of last session for one additional Benny? And actually, this is a great time to remind everyone, please reset your Bennies to 3 total Bennies. And you can earn one more if you'd like to recap what we did last week.
Uh, we were tasked with tracking down some twins that had been um, hustling mining camps in Wyoming, and we went to Sam Calhoun's mining camp, one of his three. Camp 47 is where we were at. And we met Monty and Abigail Jeffords, who we later discovered did have some sort of power of telepathy between them, and they were using that to hustle smaller frontier communities and then uh, skip town. Um, After they had first turned us down, they came running after us, begging for their help in fleeing the camp, and they were being chased by folks that they had hustled. We kind of got that situation squared away by giving the guy who was bitching about his money getting taken, just giving his money back. But the real reason everyone was in a hurry to leave was because what we learned to be called conglomerate undeads, had formed in the mining tunnels and had climbed out of the mine and were attacking people in the camp and lighting shit on fire. Um, and we saved as many people as we could. We destroyed the gloms as best as we were capable of, and then we did some little bit of like character work, character development, hanging out with each other a little bit, and doing some fun little flashback vignettes to kind of understand out each other a little bit better. Um, but we have escorted most of these survivors from the camp to the next like homestead, or not homestead but town, and are on our way. We were on our way back to Sister Winter, and when we got there, she was real pissed that we took too long. We took extra days to get back.
Excellent. The only please give yourself a Benny. The only thing I will add, just because it was so impressive, I think it deserves particular focus, is um, Abigail absolutely melted one of these things.
God.
Just,
Yeah, yeah.
just crushed this thing. Um, and yeah, you have found yourself um, back finally at the site of the last Weird West review. It is June 17th, Tuesday, 1884. And uh, you are correct. Sister Winter, um, Janet Sullivan, is uh, perturbed because she was expecting to be able to pull up stakes days ago, but instead has been left in this limbo state where most of the performers are back at the train, expecting, that you all would have returned already, and she's left with, um, a carnival barker, right, and a couple small carnival games, as well as some knickknacks that she um, is attempting to sell as uh, bona fide artifacts of cultures and civilizations long since past. Uh, in addition to that general um, frustration, she has a new and specific frustration, which is the fact that, according to her, the gizmo in your train car is making a hell of a lot of noise. You all know this to mean that the cylinder style phonograph player, hand crank phonograph player, which your benefactor uses to get in touch with you, that its attention bell is ringing and probably hasn't stopped. And so it is best that you all head back to the train post haste. It is about a half a day's ride from where you are, and I will put you in the train. I believe you all are in the central car. Is everyone there? Does everyone have sight?
I see.
Yeah, I can see too.
Excellent. Yes, this is an old school phonograph player with a large horn or bell sticking out of it. This one is so old that instead of using flat discs, it uses cylinders, of which you have a few. However, when its internal mechanical bell is making the particular clanging noise that it is now, you know that it is because your benefactor would like to speak with you. In order to make that happen, all you need to do is someone needs to grab hold and turn the crank. And Cornelius, I see there are two of you, so I am going to make one of you disappear.
Ooh.
I know, spooky.
Captain
The
Cornelius.
prestige.
Wait, that was the real name.
I'll go and begin turning the crank.
Great.
I'm assuming it's an average person can do so.
Yeah, this is not a feat of strength by any stretch of the imagination. Depending on how
Good.
long the conversation goes, it may turn into a feat of endurance, but that has yet to be an issue. As you wind the crank and you hear all sorts of mechanical clicks and whirs and clattering going on inside, you hear it first very, very faintly. But as things come up to speed, a bit more robust, hello, are you, my pigeons? Are you there? Are you? Hello? Have you finally returned?
I assume we can speak back then.
You can absolutely speak back. This is, as you would know, right? The characters would know that this being your first experience with it as players, you might not. This is two-way, real-time communication.
Woohoo! I'll say, yes, we're all here and accounted for, and in one
Oh,
piece.
wonderful! So my pigeons have returned to me, and none the worse for wear. That is excellent news. And what of the twins?
They've agreed to come along.
Oh, well, I'm sure Janet will be very pleased. Well, will she be very pleased? Is there anything unusual, or are they merely experienced charlatans?
I mean, they can see through each other. Well, not see through, but understand each other's thoughts. Is that right, or is it see through there? I'll look towards the folks who actually spoke, Friendly and Joan.
I mean, I think it was
kind of they just hear and also see because I tried lip reading. Maybe it's a thought thing.
Mhm. Yeah, like they got an ear tunnel between their heads that nobody can see, and it's infinitely long.
Oh, ear tunnel. That's an ear tunnel.
Ooh, an ear tunnel. Perhaps when I bring this technology to market, um, ear, yes, ear tunnel. Don't worry, John. If I will trademark it, of course, but I will give you a cut if this becomes successful. An ear tunnel in every home. I like the sound of that. But you say the twins have a natural one of these with no
I
mechanical
did not
gizmos
realize I
whatsoever.
was muted. Y'all are killing me with ear tunnel. The word telepathy was first used 2 years before our current time.
I also said telepathy earlier, but
Y'all are
that
killing
doesn't
me
I'm
with
matter.
pretty sure I said telepathy last session, but still.
Yeah.
I had to Google that just to check.
I believe ear tunnel's the common
Colloquialism.
phrase.
Fair point. Top. Fair.
Damn hell's telepathy.
Well, that is wonderful news. Janet will surely be able to put individuals with those talents to great use in her show. And you, you all are well. No injuries sustained.
I had a bad dream that I got mauled by a mountain lion, but for the most part, I'm doing fine.
Well, there's a burgeoning science in analyzing dreams. I am not experienced in it myself, but should you need, John, I can send someone to do such things for you. But it sounds like none the worse for wear, which means ready for another job, perhaps?
You know us always.
I think we are.
Wonderful. There is a small town about 2 days' ride from here. Bent
Here
Pine,
where we are, or here where you are?
no, where you are. I am. Where if it were 2 days from where I am, I would be calling a different set of pigeons. For you, it is a 2-day ride east to Bent Pine, Wyoming. I would like you to speak with one Charlotte Amberton. Her partner has gone missing and does some very important work for me. If you could speak with her to learn more of the specifics and then go and investigate and perhaps find out where Jack Amberton is, I would be most appreciative.
So we're looking for Jack Amberton. And
Mhm.
what was the wife's name?
Charlotte.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the term your benefactor used was not wife, it was partner.
Oh, apologies.
No worries. Just don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah. Very big difference.
Mhm.
And that was in Bent Pine, is that right? Bent Pine?
Yes, Bent Pine, Wyoming. And you have ridden back from Calhoun 47. You have ridden back to just outside Cheyenne,
Mhm.
Wyoming.
And it was 2 days.
Yeah.
East.
Mhm.
He was saying ride. Is that going to be? Would we know whether or not that would be specifically a conflict with Sister Winter's train schedule, schedule, or Do we,
Uh,
or from experience, does she usually go where we need to go?
well, she usually, right, goes around where you need to go, right?
Mhm.
But she's pretty cranky, right? And you had her cart and her horses, right?
Yeah.
For this past trip. So I think if the intent, right, is to use more of the Weird West show's resources, um, probably a conversation with her is in order. On the flip side, if you wanted to, I mean, you're in Cheyenne. If you wanted to get your hands on some horses and ride out there, uh, that's another option.
Okay. Okay. I'll kind of look out to everyone else. Do you think that's gonna be something we'll be able to uh collect resource-wise? We'll be able to head out soon, or should we go talk
That
to the good
shouldn't be
sister
a problem.
first?
I think I'd be down to get us some horses and we can take a ride. We don't want to put out our host too terribly much, and I think we can handle. I can handle getting us that riding horses. I'm sure.
Anyone else have any thoughts?
I mean, I've already got Mortimer, so gonna be hard pressed to keep up with the horses. But
I think we'll be able to make that work. Is there a place we know Charlotte works we should be looking for?
Well, yes, I mean there is the Emberton workshop, but as to its exact location, I am unsure. I know that Bent Pine is not a very large uh, encampment or town, and so I'm sure once you get there, asking around, it won't be very difficult for you to find.
Sounds all right.
Let's see about them horses.
are we gonna try negotiating with the good sister, or are we gonna skip right past that and go to just buying them?
It never hurts to ask.
Sometimes it does, but I appreciate the spirit of what you're saying.
Oh man, like a million errors popping up. There we go.
Yeah. Do they say my name or do they say your name?
My name. User
Okay.
Ted lacks permission to.
Yeah, a whole lot
Yeah,
of update
they say
settings.
my name. I'm not doing anything. I assume you all are not doing anything either.
Yeah.
I just don't have permission, I guess. I'm sorry.
You just don't have permission.
I just have it set to remind you guys from time to time who has all the permissions here.
Brian, look
it's-
at me. I'm the
Oh, this is just a
Right.
just a
Just a
real
sh-
power play going
Yeah,
on right
just
now.
straight up ego move. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
if we're planning to ask the sister, do you want me to lead negotiations on that?
I suppose, does she like you better than she likes any of us?
Everybody likes me. Maybe not better than y'all, but
That's fine, I think.
You are the likable one of us. I don't know about the rest of you, but I meant between the two of us.
I like to think I'm likable.
You all have your charms, though I am the handsome one.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's best for you to go talk to a friendly.
Anybody want to come?
Yeah, I'll be there with you.
Can I stop turning the crank?
If
I mean,
well, you are going to Bent Pine, correct?
Sorry,
Yes.
what did you say?
Yeah.
You are going to Bent Pine to talk with
Yes.
Charlotte?
that
Yes,
is
yes.
the job. So yeah,
Wonderful. Then I will hear from you when you return, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
how are you doing?
I'm doing just
Oh.
fine, friendly. Thank you for asking.
I switch hands.
Switch
Any
hands and
good restaurant recommendations out in Cheyenne?
switch hands and give friendly and now Joan a dirty look.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. No, I have never been. If you have one, perhaps you can recommend to me.
By the time I leave Cheyenne, I will have a recommendation for you, I guarantee.
Wonderful.
Maggie creating problems for the DM.
Have a lovely day.
Goodbye, my pigeons. Safe travels.
I look at Cornelius do like a little like finger motion.
Yeah, I take my hands off and just ring them.
Yeah. As you take your hand off, the crank, it doesn't stop immediately. Like it goes through several revolutions as it slows itself
Yeah.
down to a stop.
All right.
Exciting.
Good luck.
Oh, this is gonna be great. I very confidently like pivot on my heel and start marching in the direction that I know her cart to be. I'm gonna assume to the left. 50% chance of being right.
He feels
Uh,
like a lefty.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to. You know that to the left, right, is the end of the train, right? Your cars are the last ones on the train, right? There's a sleeping car that belongs to you. This is your central sort of common car. To the left and right, there is a sleeping car, right? There's one additional car that belongs to you that is beyond the sleeping car on the left, right? That is just for your equipment and whatnot. But those are your 4 cars. Everything else is to the right, and everything else belongs to Sister Winter and the Weird West Review. And just so you know, we can just say that you move to the right. You don't have to traverse the entire train. And yeah,
reach what I presume is the final door before her office and just knock politely on it.
Well, you don't get anywhere near her office. Her office is right. It's the car right behind the locomotive. Her office and her sleeping quarters is right behind the locomotive. And there is all of the cars of all of the Weird West Reviews equipment and stable of performers in between here and there. And the first car that you run into after your final sleeping car to the right, you run into the kitchen car where there is actually currently no one in there cooking anything, right? But the next car is sort of the common dining room. And Janet Sullivan, aka Sister Winter, is sitting there eating an apple.
I take my hat off.
Good. That's amazing, Maggie. That's pretty cool. What do you got to say for yourself there, friendly?
Well, as you can see, I am hat in hand. I'm here to ask if you'd be amenable to loaning us that wondrous cart and the horses attached to it for another excursion.
Oh, you mean the one you the ones you said you'd have back in a week and took you like 12 days to get back here? You mean
I do understand. And if it helps, we preach the good word about this establishment to, well, Shotgun Nuns Review, obviously, to everybody we came into contact with. We did a lot of good work out there. It helped a lot of people. Nothing but good publicity for you and yours.
well, that's just great. I'm grateful for all the publicity that you and yours are throwing out in a mining camp 5 days ride from here that only uses their own script and not good, hard American dollars. So,
I see. Now, what in fact happened is there are people that are from there who left to go elsewhere. And now they're disseminated far and wide, spreading the good word about this here establishment.
Not to mention the incredible, uh, talented act that we've procured in return for you. That
now
was
you
worth a
see,
few days,
friendly,
I think.
now this is a line of convincing that I might be able to get behind. You see, you left me in a pretty bad way. It's not just about not having the cart and horses. I mean, that was a nuisance, right? And I was a little concerned about them, not you, right? But at the end of the day, the big problem was that I expected you guys back. So we started packing up the show and putting it all back on the train. And then there were days where I'm sitting here without a full show, which means I can't make all that money that I need to make to keep this thing rolling and to keep this train on the tracks and to haul your 4 cars around. But you know what does make me money? New acts. And you brought me these twins, and you say that they can read each other's mind. Now, do either of you have any idea how I can put that to good use?
Mostly crowd work and wagers would be my first two stops, I think.
Proud working wait. What about you, Joan? Any ideas?
Hmm. Not that spring to my head right away. I mean, it's not a very fun trick to look at.
Joan gets a.
I
I'm sorry, not Joan. Janet gets a big grin on her face. Well, well, well. I guess my job as head show person is still intact. You two lack imagination. But what you don't lack, at least for the time being, is a ride. How long are you going to need this ride for?
Friendly takes a step back and glances at Joan.
you said it was 2 days ride from
It's a
here.
2-day. It's a 2-day ride. I mean, here's
Yeah.
where it gets tricky. It's a 2-day ride, but
We know we need 4 days. How much do we need in the middle?
there's the tricky part.
Yeah, and the quest is to find someone who has gone missing, which could take who knows how long. I mean, I think we could probably get it back to you in a week, but let's make it a week and a half. if we've learned anything from.
So many days.
Sure. Just a week and a half.
Well, hold on. I think we could reasonably dial that down to 9 days. 8 days.
How about if I make you a counter-offer? I think Cheyenne is pretty tapped out in terms of the Weird West Review. Don't know that even if we unpacked on the other side of town, it'd be worth the trouble. I think it's time for us to move on. So how about if I give you 2 weeks to meet us in Denver?
Do any of you have any idea how far Cheyenne is from Denver?
I can tell you this, at least based on the crappy map that has Cedar City in Nevada. Denver's definitely south, but it's sort of southeast of Cheyenne, and you are headed east. So presumably, we don't need to worry about the geography. You know that might be a little tight, but you can make it. Gives you 3 or 4 days to hunt down whatever you can about the missing Jack Amberton.
So that we do not inconvenience you anymore. If we miss you there, where's the next port of call to get ahead of you?
Oh, you better look for the Flyers in Denver if you don't see us there. Also, don't forget, you might want to go to the local telegraph office. We got one of them fancy telegraph machines in my office on the train. Now, I heard tell that you have an even fancier communication device. Is that true?
Honestly, the relative technological innovations of the thing are a bit lost on me, ma'am.
All right. Play it coy.
Well, we've been referring to it as the ear tunnel as of today, so that's exciting. Bit of brainstorming back there.
Ear tunnel. Oh, I like the sound of that. I got to get to a trademark office fast. So, 2 weeks
No,
in
I
Denver?
don't really think ear tunnel's anything. You don't need to worry about rushing to trademark that.
Yeah, give yourself a penny, Maggie. Well, as we established, you don't really have a flair for what might interest the public. So, leave it up to me. I'm in show business. I know how to get these suckers to buy things. 2 weeks in Denver? And she spits on her hand and holds it out.
Joan will do the same.
All right. You guys have yourself a ride to Denver. Congratulations.
Afterwards, after the handshake, Joan does like pull out a little bit of water and pour it on her hand, and then clean it and wipe it with a towel and put her gloves back on.
Janet stands up, puts her arm around you, Joan, says, listen, Joan, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I don't take any offense. I'm just saying this to hopefully be helpful in the future. You should save the wiping your hand off until after you're out of eyesight of whoever you just made the deal with. Some people are going to take that a very bad way. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, absolutely. Certainly. But we're better friends than that.
We are. You bequeath me the name Ear Tunnel, which I will promptly trademark and make big dollars on. So of course we're good friends. Big shit-eating grin.
Yeah,
Equally large
certainly.
shit
All
eating grin back.
yours.
Nice.
We have infringed upon your day enough, I think, ma'am. We will head on back and inform the troops, and then they'll probably get on getting on.
She picks up an apple, or picks up the apple she was eating, takes another big bite out of it, and sure, whatever you say, hun.
I've been meaning before.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any pamphlets, flyers?
For the Weird West review?
Right, or slander against Wild Bill's Wild West show, either or.
Oh. Follow me. You can have your pick. Some from column A and some from column B.
Yeah, I turned to Joan, like putting the hat back on and say, I'll meet
Right.
you back there in a second.
You you go down, you follow her down like 3 cars, and there are 2 grown men chained to desks, right? One of them just writing out flyers, right? That are come see the Shotgun Nuns Weird West review, Sister Winter's in town, just whatever, right? And another one, just the most slanderous, salacious, like rumors. One of them looks up and is like, Janet, please, we're sorry. Are we finished yet? We've got to have done enough. And she's like, I told you, no one wins the coin toss. No one. I don't care if you have to knock those pins over yourself before the thing gets there. We can't have any winners. That's how this thing keeps going. Everybody loses until you figure out how to make. We've rigged all the games, right? I don't care how cute the little girl was. I don't care how much she was crying. Everybody's a loser. They're like, yes, boss. She hands you a fistful of each.
Do either of them have like any like visible blisters from sitting and writing the whole time?
Not from writing the whole time, but they've got blisters on top of their knuckles, which, I mean, you see a yardstick like propped in the corner. It's not hard.
Yeah. The the one that's closest to me, like
Yeah.
probably the one on the right who's not doing the slander,
Yeah.
I reach over and just pat him on the shoulder, spend a little bit of power to do healing hand.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, he looks down, right? And there's a immediate like sense of relief that you can see washes over his face, right? And then that like sort of shrinks into a bit of disappointment / horror, right? And you just hear a mumble, oh, it's gonna hurt so much more the next time.
I like mutter through a smile so that my mouth doesn't move and just say, I didn't think about that. I'm so sorry.
So it's okay.
As I start heading with the sister away.
Right. Wonderful. All right. So you find yourself uh, once again with cart and direction and purpose. Um, when you get back to the train car to talk with everyone, what would you guys like to do? Any additional preparations that you've got planned?
Let's see. What do we know about Ben Pines? Is it all right there? You know?
Um, let's see. Why don't um anyone who would like to can make me a common knowledge check if you think you might have more specific information or a different skill to use. By all means, let me know and we can try and figure out what is going on.
And me and Kane have been around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Just to be before I start rolling. Great. Kane and Friendly, you have heard that Bent Pines, relatively small community. It's on a major trail headed towards Cheyenne, right? So if you're headed towards Cheyenne from the east or headed away from Cheyenne, or headed away from Cheyenne going east or headed west, right? To get to Cheyenne, Bent Pine is a place that's sort of propped up as a pleasant stopping point on one's travels. There is no real mining to speak of there, but they do have some mining supplies for people that um, are headed towards the mountains and may be peeling off before they get to Cheyenne, where there would be more supply depots. That is about it. Nothing really unusual, nothing untoward. Just nice little town east of
Okay.
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay. What? Yeah. If that's it, then I'm gonna be okay with the things I have on my back.
Okay. Anybody else? Any activities, conversations, planning that you want to do before y'all head out?
I'm gonna sidle up to Abby and hold out the pamphlets and very quietly say, "Okay, which of these is the slander and which of these is the advertisement?"
Cool. Give yourself a penny, Friendly.
Yeah. Like I can't tell both of them are equally inflammatory without being able to do the
Right.
This one has a picture of the clowns. That one's the one you want to give to people and say good things. This one is not the clowns. Say the bad things.
Okay, so right good things, left bad things. Thank you.
Well, let's see. I think I'm gonna actually go talk to Friendly real quickly. Um, hey, friendly. Gotta-
Hmm?
You know, I was thinking about what the sister said. You know, we got to start doing like only our job. You know, like it was nice. You know, saving all those people, but we're working with a lot of people. You know,
So
uh,
you're saying your vote in the future is to not help people.
if it interferes with our job, you know what I'm saying, right?
Uh-huh. But
Yeah.
everything worked out this time, so I think probably we're okay. Don't
You know, I just don't want to make a habit of it. You know, we go fuck around and get left one day. How many days did you tell them we needed?
Well, we had some masterful negotiations and we are at 10 days to get 2
10
weeks
days.
to get to 2 weeks to get to Denver. 2 weeks to do the thing and to get to Denver, both in there.
Okay, so making sure we got it 14 days.
Right. Things were shaky there for a moment, but Joan brought us home.
Okay, John got us. Yep, that's good. Okay. You know, I just wanted to pull you aside to talk to you about it because
Oh,
you
on
you
the topic, I
uh,
am so proud of you for not executing that guy. That was great. That was great. That was just really good.
um thank you. Uh it
I know he shot at you. I know.
yeah, yeah, it was hard. It was very fucking
I
hard. I'm gonna
know.
be honest with you. Like next time, I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to shoot him first before I talk to him. You know.
May, maybe that's what you got to do. But this time
Uh,
you saw him, and you decided don't need to shoot him.
you know, you're right. You're right. It
This is
was
great. This is great.
yeah, you know, it was scary as hell though. A couple
Oh,
bullets went past me. Uh,
uh-huh. But look at you. You conquered your fear. Well, conquered your fear of getting shot at again, and therefore shooting him in the. You know what I mean?
I don't know what the fuck you mean, friendly.
Just reach out, like, like give you like the scuff on the shoulder. You are doing great.
You know what? All right. Thank you for that, friendly. Thank you. I think that's really about it. You know.
All right. Fantastic. Anything else? All right. Let us then set out on our 2-day journey. If everyone could roll me a D20, please.
I-
Cool.
My dice was a 20, and then somebody hit mine and become an 8. I just want to let it know.
Well, I just submitted 13. So I was about to say, what the fuck?
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, so and is it just everybody piling in the wagon, taking the Weird Rest Review wagon and horses? Just so I'm clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm leaving Mortimer here. Mortimer
Okay.
can't keep up.
Right. Mortimer
Okay.
is we'll say you visit the rear car,
Mhm.
spend a little time with Mortimer, get him set up, make sure people know to feed him and take care of him, and do whatever it is one needs to do to make sure that a donkey is well cared for. and then y'all head out. Um,
On that, should we be worried about food resources?
um, here's how I am going to handle both food resources and um, ammunition resources. In my view, once you make it back to the train, right? I'm not tracking how much stuff you have on the train, right? We are going to say that for those two things, when you get to the train, your supplies are essentially infinite, right? Obviously, that's not the case, but while you are gone, the people on the train are restocking those sorts of things. So you can easily restock your supplies once you get to the train. However, right, you will need to bring enough, you know, food, water, and ammunition for the trip, right? And obviously, you'll have an opportunity to hunt if you need to, or forage or look for a river if you need water. Those are all options, as well as buying things from whatever town you happen to find. And also, the ammunition in particular is most important that we track it during gunfights. I'm probably going to play a little loose and fast with it otherwise.
Cool.
Thomas is gonna bring his like gear bag
Mhm.
from the train and put it into the carriage. It has like some like tools essentially in it.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, you're leaving it on the train as you go on this particular trip.
No, I'm saying I'm bringing it.
Oh, you're
putting it in the
I got it.
carriage.
I got
Not
Oh,
the
I
train
got it.
carriage, the
Got it.
horse carriage.
Got it. Right. So you have your additional tools and whatnot with you. Great. Let me know if that causes any weight capacity problems for you.
Not for me.
All right. Yeah, I figured not, but thought I'd throw it out there just in case. All right, excellent. Day 1, right, is a little bumpy. You also have a brief moment where the wagon has some very tough sledding through some mud. However, not significant enough to actually get stuck. Through whatever combined efforts, you are able to get through it. It slows you down a little bit, but even that, not significant enough to change the 2-day arrival time. So after night 1, you are making camp. Anything you'd like to do at camp on night 1? Or are we just rolling through this?
Uh, I have nothing.
No worries. Great. So we will move on to just so I'm clear, right? Anybody doing anything in terms of watch, or are we just YOLO?
I think we'd do what we normally do, which would have Thomas would be watching while resting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to say those who are
Okay.
the insomniacs have made it clear that they're the ones who do
Right.
the watching.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
another question, I know what this picture looks like, but I picked it just because I thought the picture was cool. Well, what are you guys doing about a fire? Do you have a fire? What's that fire look like?
Oh my god.
I mean, is it like is it? It could be anywhere from no fire whatsoever, big roaring fire like this somewhere. I'm just trying to get a sense of what camp looks like when you guys set it up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of us, so like
Mhm.
fire is safe, right?
Yeah.
Like our numbers are high. And I also have an axe of which we can chop wood for our fire.
Do we have a lot of places where we can be chopping wood out
Mostly
here?
scrub fire.
Yeah, there's. I'm not saying a hatchet wouldn't be useful because like hacking shit, but just
I mean,
I guess we
it.
do kind of scrubby, right?
Yeah, I mean, in this location, it's sparse, but there's stuff you can find. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Probably keeping it kind of low just to like keep the warmth for the evening,
Mhm.
but I don't think that if it's June, we might not need to worry too much about a s'mores level heat.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, mostly for like your cooking, your coffee, etc.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to see a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Just wanted to get a sense of that.
yeah.
Those of you keeping watch the night of the 17th, notice nothing unusual.
Hooray! We're
Yeah,
killing it.
so here we are, the morning of the 18th. And I would say, at this point, you roll in to Bent Pine. It is there. I mean, it's literally a main street with
Mm.
general store, saloon, a church, and another saloon. Right. Couple houses around, and that is it in the main part of town. It is not difficult, right? Takes very little time of asking to find that the Amberton's place is about a half hour, 45-minute ride due south. Right? And you head out there to find a relatively small home and a relatively big barn. And Charlotte Amberton is rushing out the front door with a shotgun.
Like at us?
Towards you.
Okay. Hands in the air.
I'm drawing my gun.
Hands in the air.
Just so I'm clear, who's driving?
Fuck, I'd probably be one of the people driving.
Whoever has the riding.
I got riding.
Okay.
Wait, no, it's a specific skill, and then it was we were saying somebody has it. Is it Joan?
Oh, is it driving? Drive.
Does Joan have the driving skill?
I'm trying to reload my page and it's not reloading. I think
Yeah,
I might. It's going now. There we go.
Yeah, I don't believe anyone
Doesn't look like I do.
has the driving skill.
Shit.
Yeah, I don't have driving or riding. I got out here on a train.
Yeah.
And Thomas has riding. He could potentially drive, perhaps with that.
That
And
makes a lot of sense.
I also have riding.
And just so I'm clear, and so you guys know, right? I'm not going to have you make riding or driving checks, right? Unless there's a reason you need to make them, right? And like, riding this wagon for 2 days I would say in this environment at this time, everyone has enough skill, right? And enough familiarity that with all the time in the world and no stress, right? We're going to say that you can accomplish the task at hand, right? It is when things start to get hairy, when those roles are going to come into question, right? And so on our ride out here, no reason for checks. At least at the moment, no reason for checks. But it sounds like Friendly, you've got your hands up. Cornelius, you've got your hands up. Kane, you're drawing a weapon.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anybody else? And Thomas, we're saying you're driving.
Yeah, so my hands will be occupied with
Right.
the reins.
Great.
And I will like slow the vehicle a bit, but like I'm still gonna continue our approach unless she shouts
Right.
to like stop or something.
She doesn't shout to stop, right? She does shout, "He ain't here. You can just turn around. He ain't here. I ain't seen him."
That's sort of why we're here. We're here to help.
She doesn't lower the weapon, which is pointed at you, but she does sort of move her head out from behind the sights. Say, "What do you mean you're here to help?"
He's missing, isn't he?
"Well, yeah. Wait, how do you know he's missing? I just said I ain't seen him."
We're here to help. I'll just leave it at that.
We've been sent out here to speak to you in hopes that we might be able to help track him down and come to the bottom of whatever it is that sent him away from you.
Wait, she lowers the gun a little bit. Did Saint Nick send you?
I'll look at Friendly and say, Santa Claus?
Shrug.
Friendly knows Santa Claus on a personal level.
If anyone here did, it would be him.
I look and just shrug and smile like, maybe?
Well, you got a gizmo let you talk to somebody?
We call him Benefactor. He calls us Pigeon.
Oh, she lowers the gun. Me and Jack call him Saint Nick. Come on in. She just turns around and walks back into the house.
Okay, now
Santa Claus.
yeah, we're gonna have to write that down. Somebody else is gonna have to write that down.
Go put my gun away now.
Does she have a little hitch? I can
Absolutely.
get this. All right, cool. I'll tell the others. I'll take care of the cart. Be right in.
All right, take care.
For those of you that are walking in, you see a very modest home, one room, a small, to call it a kitchen would be bold, a wood burning stove with some pots near it. There appears to be on the as you enter on the right hand side of the home, it walled off with a door. You presume it's the bedroom. She clearly is no longer threatened by you. She left the shotgun propped up next to the door and has gone in to move something off of the wood stove. Her back is towards you as you're entering, and she is grabbing some tin cups and putting them out on the table. So, Saint Nick sent you. How many total?
Just us, man.
I'm sorry, I didn't get an opportunity to count as I was looking down the barrel of the
There's 6 of
shotgun.
us.
6 of you. All right. Well, that yeah, I think that'll do fine. Jack and I have been together for a while, and he's very dedicated to his work, but I don't know, something changed in him since his brother died. And about 3 weeks ago, he took off. I ain't seen him since. St. Nick said he'd send some people out here to help, and here you are. And she's put the tin cups on the table, is now putting some loose tea in each of them. And when she's done with that, she's heading over to the stove to pick up a pot of boiling water.
Sorry to hear all that. Were he and his brother close?
I mean, Jack talked about him all the time, but I mean, he probably hadn't seen him in years. You know, Fred lived back east, and hell, I can't remember the last time they saw each other, but we got word that he fell ill and never recovered. And, well, Jack took it real hard. Spent more and more time in that barn doing work. And like I said, about 3 weeks ago, that was the last we saw him.
You came out as pretty intense when we arrived. Have there been folks bothering you about him?
Jack's pretty good at what he does. And among some rather small circles, he has quite a reputation. St. Nick, has us under his protection and allows us to work without interruption. But without word from Jack, there's only so much St. Nick can do. So vultures start circling.
What sort of work was Jack known for?
Well, Jack's a professor. He's a machinist. And he's particularly adept at fusing, I guess, machine to flesh. Did a lot of work in prosthetic limbs. A peg leg only gets you so far.
Work for who exactly, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I don't mind at all. We work for St. Nick.
Wait, you provided prostheses for Nick's other employees?
Well, see, it's one of the reasons we call him Saint Nick. You see, he, he's very generous. Uh, he, I'm not sure how he heard about us, but he did, and he reached out and said that he was very interested in us continuing our research, right? And that if we would share our findings with him exclusively, then he would be happy to fund us. We were hesitant at first and thought best try and find out what exactly it is he wants us to be researching. And as it turns out, St. Nick don't care. He trusts us and he trusts Jack and says he'll find interest in whatever it is we find and that he would be happy to fund whatever it is our heart desires, just so long as he has exclusive access to the findings.
And how close were you with Jack as far as his skill goes? Are folks after you?
Well, I'm quite skilled myself, but uh not to belittle myself, but my skills are a bit more mundane. He is a professor and quite imaginative with regards to both mechanical operations and how those things might benefit living creatures. I am merely a physician. Skill set still highly skilled, just a bit more mundane, at least compared to Jack.
I see.
Do you know anybody that had any problems with Jack?
I mean, I, I I don't know anybody specifically. I could not give you a name.
Okay.
What I do know, right, is there are many people, I'm sure some from some of Hellstrom's folks, that would be most interested in getting their hands on some of Jack's research. I mean, I've been over it myself looking for clues, but I can't find a thing.
I happen to have some knowledge in that field. If you would permit me to take a look, I do work for Nick after all.
Sure, let's take a walk. And she just she has filled like 3 of your cups with boiling water, right?
I
And
have had 0 to drink.
right, and so 3 of them are like steeping tea. The other 3 just have like dry tea in them, and she just puts the pot of water down on the table and walks out the front door and starts heading over to the barn. She swings the barn doors open, and simply put, it's a train wreck in there, right? There's bits of metal and pieces strewn all over the place. There's a few animals dissected in what is clearly a very scientific way. There's some other dead animals that are just dead animals. There's a workbench covered with papers and tools and whatnot.
Immediately go take a look.
Okay. Let's. Certainly give me a notice check. Also give me a weird science check. I'm checking for two different things. And anyone else who's interested can certainly make a notice check here.
Yeah.
If there's anything else specifically that you are looking for, let me know. I mean, the papers are in Ted, just so I'm clear. The notice is just sort of a general roll, the same that everyone else is making for what
Yeah.
sort of things you may be picking up. The weird science roll specifically, like the papers are out. We're just trying to figure out how much of this you can interpret.
Mhm.
Okay.
5 on the notice, 16 on the weird science.
Yeah, I just saw that 16. Holy moly. All right.
And I'm vaguely curious if there's anything beyond weird science specifically, if there would be anything like mysteriously arcane / occult.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. And
additional factor to whatever he might have been doing.
Right. And so what skill would you like to bring to bear to try and figure that out?
I have occult. I also have spell casting. Like
Okay, yeah, go
occult
ahead and
feels
make
appropriate.
me an occult roll. And
Okay.
let's see what's going on.
And if the answer is nothing, that's dandy.
Right. Let me.
Damn.
Holy shit. All right. Let me parse some of this stuff. There are a lot of numbers here I got to figure out.
I'm definitely just standing to the right of Abby, like as you're like, I don't need this one, and just pass it over to me. I'm just holding them.
Okay.
Can I specify what I'm noticed, like I'm trying to look for?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard that his brother was sick, and I wanted to see what the last thing he was working on. Maybe it was like a lung or a heart or something like that.
Okay, so you're trying to notice anything that might resemble like an internal organ or something.
Yeah, because his brother gone sick, so
Right.
I can't imagine that he didn't want to try to help out with that.
Okay, great. All right, let's start unwinding this stuff. Joan, you are simply overwhelmed by the amount of stuff and seemingly random stuff to find in a bar. Like, it's just weird, right? So there's nothing in particular that you see. It looks like everyone else, in terms of the notice check, is in the same range. Kane, you do not notice anything that, at least immediately, looks like it might be an internal organ, although as you're looking for anything that might serve that purpose, it does occur to you that there are a lot of things around here that you just don't know what they are, right? And so they could be, right? There are thick glass canisters, some of them just sort of out, others surrounded by relatively thick metal cages that clearly seem to be an attempt to protect the glass cylinder inside them. You also take notice that you were told by Charlotte that one of the primary things that Jack was working on was artificial limbs, but you see something that you see two things that look like they're clearly the easiest way to describe them is those two things are a pair of metal wings, right? You see what could best be described as like Freddy Krueger or Wolverine claws. Like, there are things in here that are clearly not just replacing hands or arms or legs or feet. Let's see. Cornelius, Friendly, and Abby, right? One thing you notice that just seems weird, right? Man, there's a lot of pocket watches around. Like a lot of them. And, they're all in various states of assembly or disassembly, but there's a lot of these things.
Can we hear if any of them are wound and ticking? It's been 3 weeks, but
Yeah, there's nothing ticking right now. But as you said, right, it's been 3 weeks. That's hardly an indictment of the working condition of any of these pieces.
it's good to know none of them are ticking, though, because that would be crazy.
Yeah,
Something weird would be happening.
Excellent point. Cornelius, the good news is that you do not recognize anything in this room that registers as occult at all.
Hooray!
The bad news is that you and only you hear a sinister, high-pitched laughing that is clearly emanating from your head.
Flick my own ears a few times and just pretend that I'm not listening.
Okay. And finally, Abigail, the papers. The initial papers that are written in a very neat hand and are very orderly do detail experiments, some successful, some not, about different attempts to fuse metal and flesh. And with your experience are clearly, as Charlotte indicated, clearly some attempt, right, to fuse some sort of limbs or some sort of appendages to living creatures. It is safe to assume, and there are certainly plenty of things that look like hands or arms or legs lying around. So it's certainly safe to assume that these could be the things. Also, one thing that you note, and from your experience, that probably the first attempts, right, aren't going to be made on humans, right? So,
Sure.
right. So seeing some of these animals around, it doesn't phase you, and also seeing some of the things that are clearly metal appendages but don't look like human appendages doesn't necessarily phase you either. You can easily surmise, right, that okay, like, yeah, clearly there was some animal testing going on here with an eye towards whether or not he's done any human testing. You don't know, but clearly the notes were headed in that direction. Until about, based on, like, you can't really get a clear sense of the date that things changed because the notes get much messier and he stopped dating anything. And like at that point, once that neat, meticulous style stops, the notes just get more and more disheveled and more confusing until and I feel so bad that I'm going to do this that I will apologize to him tomorrow night. But like it devolves into Doug's like keeping notes from both sides of the notebook and working his way in, and like it's a mess, right? And please, if I don't remember, please remind me to apologize to it. Like I feel bad that that's the only way that I can think to describe it in the moment, but it is like it's just and the focus of the notes change. The focus changes from the fusing of metal to flesh to using mechanical augmentations, right? To at first bolster the life force of a living creature, and towards the end it starts to get into using mechanical augmentations to find various ways to augment and add to the life force of a living creature.
In my professional opinion, how close does he seem, based on his notes, to success?
You don't know. It's beyond you. Like what you do know, right, is that this is not a quack, right? This is like he may have gone crazy, right? He may have, gone off his central core thesis that he was investigating, right? But this guy is far from a loon, right? This is clearly a exceptionally learned individual, right? In whatever they're talking about. And some of these things are like the best you can think when you're reading this is some combination of, oh, well, shit, like I never thought of that, or I should have tried that, or oh my God, could that possibly work? Right. But it's, you don't have enough of this specific training to be able to sort of check his work and determine whether or not it's successful. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly know enough to know that it could be successful, right? You know enough. You know enough to make the determination that this wouldn't automatically fail. Does that answer your question?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Charlotte says, "Well, did you find anything? Anything give you an idea?"
Certainly nothing to point to anyone who would have taken him.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't think anybody took him. Well, I don't think anybody took him from here. What happened since he left? I don't know. Right. But as best I know, like he wandered off.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
do
it.
you think he's going after something that will be the next piece in this puzzle he's trying to put together? A living thing that he could make use of?
I mean, it sounds like a good guess to me, but at the end of the day, it's like for me, that's a guess. Like I just know he's gone. Whether he's, I can't imagine that he'd leave his work. So I've got to imagine that he's after something, whether it's some living creature, right, that he thinks is the missing piece for his next experiment, whether it's something he had here that got out, maybe he was experimenting on something and it got loose, right? Who knows? Maybe it's just he got sick of the whole thing, right? And needed to clear his head a little bit and get his brother's death off his conscience and out of his head. I can't say what, but all good theories.
Maybe we'll take some time and ask a few of the neighbors if I mean, you say all of it pretty private and secret, but maybe if you had any time outside the house and anyone saw him a day or two right after you did.
Yeah, sounds like a reasonable plan to me.
Hmm.
Adam, during this whole series of events, right?
Mhm.
I get the cart set up. I pull out 2 apples that I've stolen from the food cart,
Mhm.
and give each one to the horses, and I've done like as they were inside, just a walk around of the house.
Mhm.
They going into the barn before I'm done. I've They're in the barn as I'm finishing that. Um, I find myself distracted for most of a lot of this conversation in the barn because a
Mhm.
butterfly's landed on my finger and I'm just staring at it for a long time,
Mhm.
and come back into this time, and I've been walking around right the place, just
Mhm.
checking to see like, hey, this lady had a gun. Is there anything outside that we should be concerned about as they're going in? Can I make a notice check to look for? I would have been looking for um, like uh, tracks around the place.
Okay. Um. Yeah, go ahead and make that notice roll for me.
Okay. I may be distracted by my butterfly.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah. You uh wander into the barn and you can hear the conversations going on, and this butterfly lands on your finger and you stare at it, and you have one of those moments where you don't know if 15 seconds or 15 minutes have just passed, right? And your consciousness sort of snaps back to what's going on. You hear the conversation still going on, and you think, well, I'm not going to be any use here. Let me go outside and see if I can't find some sort of tracks of something. And as you start looking, the butterfly lands on your other finger, and you have another one of those moments where you don't know if it's been 15 seconds or 15 minutes, and you're just lost.
No problem. I'm just standing like 10 feet outside the barn door, handheld, butterfly just slowly moving its wings,
Absolutely.
like
And you
dead
know what?
still.
Also, give yourself a Benny, right, for stealing apples to feed uh, Sister Winter's horses.
Hell yeah.
Also, since I probably won't remember it, um, I did install something so that as part of Dice So Nice, I do believe you are now able to select your Benny token as well. If you are asking what would be the logical next question, which is, oh, that sounds pretty cool, Adam. How do we do that? My answer is, yeah, figure it out and let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So, Thomas is outside, staring at butterflies. You've noticed some unusual things going on inside. Abby, you certainly have a sense that this is a skilled scientist who is trying to fuse living tissue and metal and has morphed into some version of trying to enhance a living creature's life force. In terms of leads, it's really all you've got right now is that Jack loved this work and loved the fact you could hear it when Charlotte was talking about it. They at least according to her, right? She was clearly very happy, and according to her, Jack was very happy that they had unlimited funding for undirected research, right? And the only thing they had to give up for that was making sure that your benefactor, who they refer to as Saint Nick because of all the gifts they give him, had exclusive access to those findings.
Lean
How would
down
we
to
let?
Abby and say, did you find something?
Yes, yes, his work starts very similar to what I was doing at Hellstrom. I doubt that they would have any need for stealing his early work or be all that interested in it. But his later work is a little more convoluted.
What does that mean?
It means exactly what I said. It's a mess. It's unreadable.
Well, we got a mad scientist out on the loose, sounds like to me.
I mean, I'm mad is heavy, maybe disorganized, little uh a- addled, an addled
That's
scientist.
off the hinges.
It
Mm,
seems like there's more going on than just an incident of being a little misunderstood or unkempt.
Well,
Well,
listen, Charlotte interrupts. It is getting late. It sounds like y'all need some time to come up with some theories. We don't have much here, but if you like, I can put you up. I do have a stew on the fire.
That would be, I think, preferable to being outside.
Sure. Y'all welcome to pile in the house if you like, or hell, I mean there's more room here in the barn, although I understand might not be to everybody's liking given the decor. He gestures around.
yeah, I actually think I'm gonna bunk up in the bar.
Okay.
With all the creepy stuff?
Yeah.
Uh,
I will continue to look through this and see if there's anything else I can find that might prove useful. So I would appreciate the company.
Yeah.
Well, my two favorite people are staying in the barn, so I'll be staying in the barn.
Well, gave a nice old little sleepover in the barn, huh?
Mhm.
But
I will not be sleeping in the barn.
hey, that's all up to you, little lady. Uh,
So 5 of you in the barn and you in the house with me?
Yeah.
Actually, she would probably say 4 of you in the barn and you in the house with me, because Thomas still is not. He's
The
staring at a
butterfly is
butterfly.
left, but I'm
Yeah.
just standing there with the
Right now,
hand
you're
out.
staring at your finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, whether you believe you're still staring at the butterfly or you're waiting for the next butterfly to land, only you can say. Right. Okay. We're gonna fast forward a little bit, right? She brings stew out to everyone who's staying in the barn. Joan, you are the only one who has explicitly stated that you're staying in the house with her. Anything, Joan, that you would like to discuss or otherwise do while in the home over the evening?
I think Joan would definitely like make pleasant conversation
Mhm.
and participate in,
Mhm.
some household activity and stuff. But I don't think anything particular
Okay.
that she wants to talk about.
That being the case, the one thing that you glean is that she was very proud of their work together and his work specifically. Other than that, just a pleasant evening. With one exception, right? And this goes for you as well as the people in the barn. Anyone who ate that stew, the stew's awful.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, not to the point of making anyone ill or there being any nefarious issues with it. It's just straight bad. Barn
shit, I
crew,
think
what's going on in the barn over the course of the evening?
I think I come to realize why he left.
Okay. Um,
But
quality joke will always get a Benny. Congratulations, Tony.
all right. But if Abby is also going to be searching, I think I am going to be helping her. Uh, I may not be the best, but I like to keep an eye out on things anyway.
Okay.
I think Thomas, like, although his eyes don't blink,
Mhm.
he quote unquote blinks, and then it's
Mhm.
nighttime, and just turns and walks into the barn and says to Abigail, "Doc, you find anything in here that could be useful for me?"
All kinds of things. I didn't want to say anything while his wife was present, but there is plenty that Hellstrom might find interesting were they to find out about it. I am gathering as many of these notes into one place as possible.
Mhm.
I don't understand the exact science of it. The medical part I can sort of understand. The technology itself is perhaps a little arcane, but he is rather seeking to enhance living creatures mechanically.
Mm.
My methods have always included splicing the abilities of living creatures into other living creatures. And she pulls out one of the red vials that contains her dactylite formula that for healing. This is the ability of the Dactylidae, Anoles, lizards, who regrow their own tails. Distilled, put into a concoction which I can give to anyone to regenerate their bodies. It would seem our host's husband is trying to do that in a far more mechanical method, enhance the body itself to do things that it would not normally be able to do. If I understand some of this correctly, which I am not entirely certain I do.
Mm.
For you, Thomas, that would mean if we could retrieve more of, well, you, we could theoretically return you to humanity, given enough time and enough study by this person.
Well,
That's the theory, at any rate. Again, I'm not sure I fully understand all of these notes.
Doc, I think we both know that ship is sailed.
Nonsense.
But speaking of sailing, you think them wings will make me fly?
I've been looking for their blueprint. I mean, they seem an interesting prototype. I understood better how they worked, I might be able to them to you. I simply haven't been able to find the blueprint.
To circle back on something you said there, Abby,
Mhm.
departure from return to humanity. Thomas seems pretty human, at least in the ways that matter to me.
What?
Frendel, I'm not sure if you realize this. Thomas is largely not flesh and bone.
Uh-huh.
He's having a moment right now. This one of them spiritual moments, you know.
No,
You
I
gotta
no,
see,
no, I
right?
know I know enough to look at that and see, you know, medically that it's not all there, but it seems a bit harsh to refer to that as a deficit in humanity.
No,
Oh.
Frendel,
All right.
that is not a statement on Thomas's inner being or self, but rather the lack of a human shell. Do you understand? I could, given enough of Thomas's initial tissue, regrow Thomas.
Huh.
The efforts put in by our host's husband seem, I don't say this lightly when you understand the full context of just sort of gestures over it. Having helped make that, much of this is beyond me.
Oh.
I would very much like to meet this man.
Didn't one of y'all say that it seemed that he switched up his research? He went from prosthetics to additions to the human body.
Correct. Enhancements.
Enhancements. And do we got a time frame for where that started? Did he ever note that down?
Is there a point that I can? Is there a place rather that I can pinpoint within the notes? Like, is there a
Yeah, I mean, both
date train?
right, both with the his research notes and cross-referencing that with what you've learned from Charlotte, it appears that the brother who died 3 weeks ago, they were informed about it 2 weeks earlier. So they were informed about it like 5 weeks ago, right?
Mhm.
And it seems that prior to 5 weeks, his notes were meticulous and in order and very neat and very easy to follow, right? Basically, starting at the time when he got word that his brother died, that's when things clearly started falling apart.
Mm.
This place here, Thomas kind of gestures to the all the weird stuff in the barn. Reminds me of that story. The scientist who made a monster from parts.
Dracula has been written by now. Do we know Dracula? Is it Pop?
Yeah, not
I
only
think
do,
Frankenstein is
Yeah, I
what-
was actually referring
Oh
to
fuck! Yes,
Frankenstein,
no,
Right.
you're
which
right. And
was
you're
like
correct,
70
and I said the
years
wrong thing.
before now. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
not
I
only
mean,
do you know
Oh.
Frankenstein and Dracula, right? You are aware that vampires exist in this country.
Just actually exist.
I,
Right.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I was
Like
like,
if
is
the
Frankenstein
glom
a thing
exists,
yet?
Dracula exists.
Right.
Like, do people know about Frankenstein? I had to look it up.
I
Oh my
mean,
god.
like I would probably have, well, nah, we'll just say y'all know Frankenstein. Like generally speaking, I think if this was the general population, like I'd probably have you make a common knowledge check. But given the fact that we got a lot of Frankenstein adjacent going on, we're just going to say everybody knows Frankenstein.
It's come up.
Yeah. So he found out his brother died, and now he wanted to make additions to the human body, right? Enhancements.
Hey,
I
it
expect
sort of
he
feels.
sought to do for his brother what we have done for Thomas here.
Yeah, precisely.
I don't know with his notes if he has the means of actually doing that. Even with Thomas, it was the work of a number of people, not just myself. And Thomas here is, well, I could not recreate what happened on my own. I would not be able to do that again right now. At least I would not be able to guarantee I could do it.
Mm,
From these notes, it is it feels to me a little unlikely he would succeed because all of these seem to be enhancing someone who is still alive. Now, again, I much of this escapes me, so there is a part that could that could hold the key that I simply can't understand.
Well, let's think about it. This man has, let's say, wings, claws. I don't know what he'll be doing with giving that to his brother if he's planning on bringing him back. But I have no idea who he'd give it to at all.
Anyone? Himself? He could try to make his brother into an angel.
With claws.
Well, maybe he's not getting the claws. Maybe he's just getting the wings.
Maybe he's a bird.
I mean, yeah, that would be talons technically on a bird.
Just shooting out
There were
propositions.
plenty of things that were designed but did not make it into the final design for Thomas. So I mean, you can.
Wait, what?
What if you're going to dream big, right? But there are certain realities that must be maintained, and
Kind of look over at Thomas to see if he's. Oh, I mean, I don't know if he's paying attention.
I mean, that's always hard to tell, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if your head is in our direction or not is kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I appear to be turning and like looking at people that speak.
The head moves to where noise is coming from. Fantastic.
Not sure if having claws or talons would be better or worse.
Who the
the good news is I cannot find any blueprints, so that's not a decision you'll have to worry about.
These things make it sound like whatever he's doing, he's turning himself or another like an animal.
Right, more like an animal, at least, if it works.
If he's of his own mind, he may not want to be near people.
Well, that's a very good thought. That if he's been working all this time and is able to make any sort of attempted test on it successfully, if on either himself or someone else, if there is more of an animalistic presence remaining after a fashion, that you have a point. He might have just decided it's better for him to leave.
He might be afraid.
afraid of what?
Himself.
Or of others.
Speaking of others, you remember how his partner over there came running out with a shotgun?
Mhm.
I don't believe uh, men and women of science like that really get into trouble with shady individuals unless there was something else going on.
You saying you suspect them of something beyond this? Or he sort of gestures at some of the desks around.
Well, who's to say? I, I'm not sure how I just felt about that reaction to guest from her.
Right. Well, I mean, if it is the case that folks have been after them because of all this, and I can understand her being immediately defensive, but it is already what I would consider shady work to begin with, or at least something that most folks wouldn't immediately take the best possible impression of before they were able to see it in practice. And even then, if what we're seeing now with Jack being gone, if that is practice, it's not exactly, I'd imagine, what his intended outcome would be.
You know, I just
It,
don't know how I feel about this. Now, I feel it in my gut. 5 weeks ago, you was a perfectly sane man and you was making prosthetics for people. I feel like everybody would enjoy prosthetics. If I lost an arm, I would be grateful. It's a lucrative business, right? But you telling me people just coming up, vultures. I'm not sure how shady or how ruthless it can get in the science department, but I can't imagine it requires a shotgun to settle these arguments.
Well,
I just pat Kane on the shoulder. Oh dear, stay that way. Stay that way. You naive boy. Just you naive man. Just stay that way, my friend.
If this is advanced enough that the doc can't understand it, it's worth killing for.
Even for the inventor himself, the ability to ensure that he can prolong his own life, forestall his own death, continue to research, continue to perfect the things that he has worked so hard on. That is a thing and that alone is a thing which nearly any scientist would kill for or kill to defend. The thing that drives this sort of researcher to research in the first place can perhaps border on mania. Given a lifetime of near limitless resources, which our host has said that St. Nicholas provided, I don't understand how any of you wouldn't feel the need to protect that with a gun. Or whatever else you create. And just unconsciously reaches down for her own not quite pistol.
Hmm. Yeah.
Either way, we need to find him before they hurt themselves or someone else.
I very, like I said, I would very, very much like to have a conversation with him. So, the faster we find that, the better.
That's assuming he's still alive.
It is. It is. Mm, Given what's in these notes, I would be a little surprised if he never considered trying them on trying any of them on himself. But it would certainly give him a little edge.
Okay. And his notes didn't say anything about what he could be looking for or where he could be heading off to.
I will confirm with Adam, but I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Nope. Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately, it's all in the science, not really in a went after my strange creation of a not quite dead anymore brother.
Was the
Mhm.
brother's corpse brought here, or did they just get news of his demise?
Oh,
it
I
was just
believe it was
news.
just news. That was more of a
He's quite far
commentary.
away, as I understand. Which is the other thing that the only thing I can imagine is that he would leave so he could try to find that, unless to help his brother if it were a case of someone trying to reanimate. But that would be very far for him and us to travel. That would not be here,
Mm. Grief.
and he'd be 3 weeks ahead of us.
grief
ideal.
does strange things to folk, but if he had to go far for his brother's body, then there would not be anything to revive. Even I know that.
Unless
Just a quick question
unless
about the
he
obvious.
made certain, but that's neither here nor there.
Is there a cellar here
In the bar?
or
Not.
elsewhere?
I don't think we'd have been shown one, but we can look around.
I mean, quick check. There is no cellar in the barn.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Or outside of their place, if we like peek outside, can we see cellar doors?
You don't see anything that appears to be a cellar door. And actually, just to help move along, there's no cellar.
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well,
What-
let's
what
see.
made you- Well, for what purpose were you asking that question, Mr. Everett?
You'd be surprised how often people are hiding right beneath your feet.
That's sort of an alarming statement, given we were speaking of corpses, but I do take your meaning.
I've found myself in that situation before.
Yes.
The hiding, not the searching.
And okay. So right now, all we got, uh, grieving man of science, brother seemed to pass. 3 week. Well, he went missing 3 weeks ago. He passed 5 weeks ago. He it seemed like he spent 2 weeks here before he left to go off somewhere. We have no idea who may be his enemies, and we have no idea where he may have went. Making sure we got everything out right.
That's yeah, that's everything.
Perhaps tomorrow we can set about town, seeing if folks know something.
We can.
Yeah.
We still probably head to a general store or some specialized store to see what's the last thing he bought. See,
What
Maybe
the locals may think of him, or what he may say to anyone.
maybe pick up a bear trap.
yeah,
Or
if he did.
That was a joke.
Well, if he did pick up bear trap, he probably because he have a lodge out stuff out there somewhere.
I
But
hear you guys saying you want to fight another bear.
I think I'm okay.
I had no issues with a bear. But is that the plan for tomorrow? We're gonna set out into the town and see what we can find out. See where last spotted, uh last impressions he left on everybody.
A good as start as any. Perhaps less productive would be checking the surrounding environment. If he is more animal, which is a theory, then perhaps he's holed up in a burrow.
A, a burrow. I thought he was becoming more like a bird, but maybe he burrowed in somewhere. Uh,
If he's a bird, then hopefully he'll fly his way to wherever his nest is. Maybe we see him in the sky.
That's why chose to stay up here, actually. See if he'd come back and try to reclaim a couple things in the middle of the night.
Well,
Well,
it is getting on. I will make sure the horses are good and keep watch outside.
all right, all right now, Thomas.
Okay. Thomas is outside, keeping an eye out for anything unusual. Um, Joan is bunked up on a bedroll in the main room of the 2-room home. Everyone else is shacked up in the barn, and the evening passes without issue. In the morning, Charlotte has coffee ready for everyone. Anyone that partakes, and I will just leave it up to you. But not only is the coffee awful, but you aren't certain that it's not just the stew from the night before. That's how bad it is.
God.
And that's how bad the stew was. It's hard to tell. It's dark and brown and liquidy, and that's sort of it.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. But again, nothing nefarious, just plain awful. It sounds like your plan is to, well, which is it? Is it to head out to the surrounding areas, or are you headed right into town?
Headed into town.
Yeah, let's do town first.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I nod to Charlotte and say thank you for the coffee, ma'am.
You are, she cocks her head, very well. We didn't meet last night, I don't believe. I'm Charlotte, and you are?
Thomas Everett.
She takes a few steps closer to you and is standing very close. Thomas Everett, it's nice to meet you. She is staring into one of your eyes.
I just
Are you
hold her gaze.
Are you sure you have to go right now? And she's clearly examining you.
A not uncommon circumstance.
In general, this is not an uncommon circumstance. Hers has purpose that you normally do not see. This is not someone gawking.
Well, I was to join my fellows.
Well, no, that's she takes a step back. That's best. We can deal with whatever else once Jack is back. Look, it occurred to me, this might help. And she reaches behind her neck and unclasps a chain that she's wearing. And as she pulls it off her neck, from within her blouse is revealed a small pendant that it's all metal. It's crudely worked, but that sort of adds to the charm and the beauty of it. It's a sunflower. Jack made this for me, and said said it was important that I keep it on me. And I don't know, maybe if you show it to him, he'll remember the importance of our work and snap out of whatever strangeness or melancholy has gripped him and return home safely. And she holds the chain and pendant out.
I will reach out and take it.
Okay.
I will take good care of this.
Thank you. It is certainly a loan and not a gift. Although I guess if you can only bring one back, I'd prefer it be Jack over the pendant.
It'll be both.
Thank you. She gently puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Well, if you found me, I'm guessing you know where town's from. Good luck." Yeah. It's I think I said it's like 25 minutes into town. What's the plan when we get here? Who are we looking for? Are we looking for anyone in particular?
Let's get drunk.
I'm all for that plan.
I'm gonna go into the general store.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming with you.
Okay. Kane and Cornelius are going into the general store. It sounds like Abby and Thomas are going to either Saloon 1 or Saloon 2.
Ooh, 2 Saloon Town.
Why
Yeah.
not both?
Yeah. Little
Pub
bar, right, little
crawl.
bar hopping, absolutely.
Will you say,
It's session
Joan,
2.
friendly, first round's on me?
I'd be happy to accompany you. I think I need to stop off in at the doctor's office if I've got some time. But then I'll meet you at the bar.
Are you unwell? Is there something I can do for you?
No, just need to pick up some supplies.
All right. Well, we'll start in the first bar, and if we're not there when you come for us, we'll be in the second bar.
Good to know. All right. And I'll head off and see if I can find. I'm looking for someone who can sell me some laudanum or opium or some
Okay.
other painkiller narcotic.
Yeah.
I'm looking for drugs.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
literally.
yeah.
One of my hindrances is a habit, and so yeah, she
Yeah, well,
needs to re-up.
Oh shit!
Like I knew that, but you describing it as a habit just then, oh my, got me a little.
We all got our vices.
All right.
stick with Abby and Thomas.
Okay. Let's let's see. Let's go yeah, let's go to the bar first. Okay. It's probably 7 a.m. between 7 and 8 a.m.
Oh wow, we got here fast.
Well, you're up with sunrise, right?
Yeah.
So
I let them sleep in a little bit. They're up at sunrise.
okay, well, we can push it back. We can say, how about between 9 and 10?
No. The
reasonable.
joke is I let them sleep in and they're up at sunrise.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
That's the-
I gotcha. Yeah, so we'll say between 7 and 8 a.m. The bar is open. There is air quotes gentleman passed out at the bar who has pissed himself. There is in the back of the bar. There's a card game that was not started anytime recently. It has clearly been going for a while. Other than that, not a lot of business, but there is a bartender. Can I help you, gentlemen?
Well, I'm insulted already.
Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Bad
Didn't
start there, friend.
I just didn't see the lady there behind. What? I'm sorry. Now I'm worried. Are you a gentleman, Mister Metal Thing?
Whoa, that thing is. Hold on, that's double.
Well,
Already you owe us.
I have to admit, I thought you were making a fine recovery for a moment there.
I almost pulled it off.
Yeah, not
It's
not quite.
all right. We'll take 3 of your 3 drinks of whiskey, 2 fingers each.
Good.
Sure. And you know what? I'll I'll give you the good stuff. Reaches up to the top shelf, of which there's only 2 shelves, but it's clearly the top shelf of the 2. And 2 fingers of whiskey for everybody. Does not, again, is clearly shaken, does not follow instructions, and pours a 4th one.
I'm gonna lean down to Abby and say, "All right, so you're gonna seize the advantage on this. Get in there and ask a bunch of questions before he gets his bearings."
Sure thing. I got this.
You got this.
Well, I will assume that one is for you. Drink up, and I will force the drink into his hand and clink it with my glass.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Shoots it back. Coughs a little bit.
What is this guy? The guy's name that we're. I've already forgotten his name.
My name's Thomas Everett. What's yours, sir?
Oh, I'm Joseph. Joseph Stein.
Joseph Stein, when was the last time you saw, and I will give the name of the scientist we're hunting for, who
Okay.
my brain is no longer functioning.
No worries. Jack Amberton?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, we hardly ever see the Ambertons in here. I can't remember the last time I saw those nut jobs.
See.
Nut job.
Nut-
That's a funny way of describing your neighbors.
Oh, well. I guess it's because they ain't too neighborly there. Real private. Like I said, hardly ever come into town. Having weird shipments delivered. No one here knows anything about them. Right? Rumor has it they're digging up corpses left and right.
They're a cemetery town.
Well, there's one over there by the church.
That is helpful.
Have there been missing corpses?
Oh, no, not that I can remember, but them folks is weird.
That's what I've heard as well.
What is the encumbered gentleman here's name? Like, without putting a hand, I just point over to the drunk guy.
For reasons I imagine are obvious, we call him Stinky.
Stinky. That's that is something. That is something.
Yeah, he lives out in. We see him almost as infrequently as we see the Ambertons. Every now and then, he finds himself a tiny sliver of gold, comes in here, gets it weighed, and trades it for drink just as soon as he can.
What's his actual name? If you don't mind me
Oh, I don't
inquiring.
know. I don't know. I mean, we call him Stinky.
He responds to Stinky.
He responds to whoever's pouring him boots. Ain't you ever met anybody with a monkey on their back?
I have. I have never considered to give them a nickname associated with that monkey on their back, but you know,
Well, look, the nickname ain't about the monkey on his back. The
about the
nickname,
pit, I'd imagine.
yeah.
Yeah, the piss puddle there.
But I mean, gold is gold. Gold spends. Don't want them going across the street. To the Shambling Mound. What kind of name for a saloon is a Shambling Mound anyway?
Shambling Mound. Lean down to whisper to Abby. Are we staying?
You keep saying lean down, but like
I know
straight
it's.
off.
I'm like conspiratorially whispering, basically. Like I'm probably leaning down short, and you just be like, "Are we leaving?"
I imagine we aren't going to find anything very useful about our quarry here.
Yeah, Mama
Anything
called
else
this
we
guy a
might
whore.
be
Wait, are you all hunters?
Of a sort.
I finger guns at Thomas.
More like investigators.
He starts snapping his towel at Stinky. Stinky, wake up! Stinky! No, just one more. I just need one more drink. Wait, what? Where my drink go?
I believe it's right here, sir. And the drink I clearly have not been drinking. I stepped down in front of him.
Thank you, friend. Slugs it back. Mighty kind of you. What do I owe this kindness?
You wouldn't happen to know anything about Jack Smith or have seen him recently?
No, I mostly keep to myself until I get me some color, and then I bring that down here and trade that in for some drink. I'm lucky to get in this time, though. I barely got here with my life.
Could you explain that for us there real quick? You were accosted, attacked, hunted, what?
Joseph Stein rolls his eyes and is like, "Oh God," right, and just walks away. Right, Stinky's like, "Well, I'm glad you asked," and straightens up his disheveled clothes as best he can. I just found a bit of gold, like a sliver of my pinky nail, and I decided to come in here and get some fine libations. On my journey, giant silver Pegasus swept down from the sky and tried to eat me alive. But I was too quick, too agile. The mystical beast could not return me to the gods this day. So I went to my favorite drinking establishment, the Shambling Mound. And upon regaling them with tales of my survival, I was promptly and rudely kicked out. Forced to drink in this shithole, the gelatinous cube.
Sir, do you have a name that is not Stinky? You got a Christian name, or you prefer Stinky?
Also, where exactly did this flying metal horse try to grab you out of this goodness of existence?
Well, I live down south. I came here from the south, sir, and to answer, madam, to answer your question, sir, I will answer to whatever you like if you'll buy me another libation.
You said this metal creature swooped down from the sky. Could you show us where this happened? Take us there.
Well, certainly, but we best bring a bottle.
Perhaps on the conclusion of the trip, then you'll get the bottle.
Just in case, I will go ahead. 2 bottles, please.
Oh, dear
So
lady.
you know that we are good for it. But you will not get a sip from this bottle until we have gotten there. This one is
Oh.
another story.
Oh, well then, well, we should go post haste. And gets up off the stool and promptly falls on his face, and gets back up and just starts rambling about this giant metal creature, which he swears was 80 feet across if it was a foot.
I think we begin to escort him out, like in the direction of the cart.
Great. Okay, let's move on to Cain and Cornelius in the general store. What is the plan in here, folks?
Once we have found it, I'd take a second to kind of look around at what this shop has, which I can't imagine is anything special unless I'm very wrong
No.
about that.
No, it's straight up standard.
Standard
Yeah.
inventory.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk in there. Hey, mister.
Yes, can I help you?
I came here to ask you a couple questions about someone that has gone missing.
Oh, well, I was unaware anyone was missing from town.
You wasn't aware.
No, sir.
Okay. Well, we're looking for a man. His name, I forgot his name. I forgot his name already.
No worries.
Jack Amberton.
J-
Jack,
Jack
Jack,
Amberton.
Jack.
Oh dear. Well, I'm sorry, but I do not know anything about the Ambertons other than they wouldn't give me any of their high volume business, other than coming in here and buying beans and pork feet and coffee every now and then. All their big money was sent for whatever those wagons were bringing them night after night. Well, it seemed like night after night.
You saying wagons came in night after night? You know what they was carrying?
Oh, I wish I did, because I would do my best to undercut that price. They clearly had coin to spend, and they were not spending it here, and I was most upset about that.
Okay. Do you? They're spending quite a bit of coin, but you say they had wagons coming in. Did they still come here and get like regular supplies, like just regular food and
Well,
amenities of that store?
yes, sir. They came in and bought coffee and the pig's feet or whatever the cheapest cut of meat I could scrounge up for them was, and some beans, and that was about it. I can't imagine what they were living on. I mean, just beans and pork feet sounds awful, but I I tried to sell them a wider variety of food. They just weren't interested. I tried to sell them various sundries for the home. They weren't interested. Uh, all their
Hmm.
money
Okay.
was going to whatever mysterious supplier was sending those wagon loads.
I'm gonna look at Cornelius.
Yeah, might be another question that might be useful to
Yes, sir.
maybe, yeah. Um, do you remember about the last time that you happened to see Jack specifically?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't think I've seen either of them in 3 or 4 months, maybe.
All right. Did they have folks around town that they used to socialize with?
They did not. They kept quite to themselves. I know there was some kerfuffle with one of their neighbors relatively recently, but I don't know. They must have the sheriff under their thumb because not a thing was done about it.
Do you remember what that was?
Well, I'm not privy to such information. I just know uh, their neighbors, the Johnsons, they were hopping mad about something.
Uh, would it would it be too much trouble for you to point us in their direction? Maybe we can ask them. Get
Oh,
out of your hair.
the Johnsons live about 10 minutes further out of town than the Ambertons do. They've got the next
Hmm.
property over.
Okay. You you heard any rumors about these Ambertons?
He leans in real close. Well, the way I figure it, with crummy quality of food that I was selling them and the infrequency with which they were buying it, they must be cannibals.
Cannibals. Okay. You hear that, Cornelius?
I, I did. That I did. Well, we do thank you very much. I'll buy like a pack of cigarettes or something just to buy something from him.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Just there are no pre-rolled cigarettes. You can buy papers and loose tobacco.
I will I will do that.
Okay. 25 cents, please.
All right.
Good. You smoke?
He shrugs occasionally. But he'll after we leave the store, I will actually hand most of it over to Kane.
I instantly starts to rolling up a cigarette.
Nice. Very nice. Wonderful. Let's go to Joan. Relatively small, at least for town, a relatively small structure. Indicating with the sign out front, indicating that it is the doctor's office. As you enter, a thin, wiry gentleman stands up, says, "Hello, Dr. Thompson. Can I help you?"
Yes, sir. My name's Joan Broussard.
Mm.
I was coming in. I've been on the road, and my painkillers. I'm just running low. I'm looking to restock on some care. If you've got laudanum, if you've got it.
Oh, well, certainly. Laudanum. It'll, well, won't necessarily fix what ails you, but will certainly make you forget about it. Let me see what I have in stock here. Anything
Thank you, sir.
else to go along with that? Cocaine has proven to be a rather fantastic new medicine. Clears the sinuses, adds vim and vigor to one step. If you, it's a perfect
I'm
compliment,
not
actually, to the
too low
laudanum.
there, but it's probably not a bad idea to stock up a little.
Very well. If it's okay with you, Maggie, we will figure out 1884 pharmaceutical prices at another time. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I have a lot of money, so
great,
yeah.
fantastic. Dr. Thompson is more than happy to help you with all your pharmaceuticals. Anything else you would like to converse with Dr. Thompson about? Or once you've got the laudanum and whatever else he's willing to ply you with, you are on your way.
Yeah, I'll head out and straighten my blouse and have everything tucked away.
Mhm.
Walk around the corner and like behind a building, and then use some, and then go head towards the
Spectac.
tavern. Yeah.
Spectac. Great. So it sounds like you all are meeting out on Main Street. Cornelius and Kane with a little bit of information about a neighbor. Friendly Abigail and Thomas with a new friend in tow. Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, Joan has a couple of new friends of her own in tow. Great. So what happens when all of you
Max just
meet
made a
on Main
very
Street?
good joke, but he was muted. He just said they're actually very old friends.
Ah, true. Very true. Excellent. That's definitely worth a penny. Grab yourself a penny, Max.
Yay!
Yeah. I'm not sure that my current, I don't know if strategy is not the right term, but current pattern of awarding bennies for jokes that crack me up is really the best way to get RP going in the game. But like, as
It
Popeye
helps
says, I
remember that
am
you
what I
have
am.
to.
Yeah.
It helps remember that you have to give out inspiration.
Yes.
So
We'll go with that. I like that. Okay, what happens as you all meet on Main Street with your various new information and or accoutrement and sidekicks?
We
The
Every-
have a
doctor in this
lead.
town is very friendly.
Oh,
that sounds
wow.
way more salacious than maybe you meant it to.
Why, hello, ma'am. You just come from the doctor?
Yes, is there a problem?
Oh, well,
This
you
is
know,
Stinky.
hello. He
Stinky.
tries to
I'm charmed.
bow and sort of curtsies and then sort of stumbles over and
I quickly grab him to like keep him from falling over.
thank you, friend. Yeah, you see, madam, my tooth hurt something awful as a result of a rotten peanut that went awry. And if the doctor had plied you with any medicines that might be of the Sharon variety, I could certainly use anything that might reduce the pain.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have anything like that. No, sir.
Very well. Miss Abigail, I don't want anything from that bottle. If I might see the other bottle?
All in good time, my friend.
Yes.
All in good time.
First things
Once we
first.
are on the road,
Yes, yeah, oh, that's right.
I'm
We've
sorry.
got,
I'm sorry.
Stinky, introduce yourself and also
yeah,
explain what you're doing.
hello. It is a pleasure to meet all of you. I have been hired and am now under your employ so that I might lead you to the location where I was almost nabbed off of God's green earth by a giant silver dragon no less than 160 feet wide. He goes to bow. It sort of turns into a curtsy, and Thomas has to catch him again and sort of stand him upright.
I take it that our traveling companions have a good reason for wanting to be hunting for a dragon.
Well, originally it was Pegasus,
yes,
And was
a metal one at that.
substantially smaller.
A flying metal Pegasus.
Right.
Why the hell are we carrying a drunk around with us?
Because
Oh,
he
hold
knows
on.
where to get to a horse that has been enhanced with metal wings.
Right. Or at least where he was attacked by said horse.
It was 100 feet wide if it was a day.
Okay.
You can see why I'm skeptical of what he just said, right?
Absolutely.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
do you
But-
have any other leads that we don't know about? I suppose we
We
should have
actually-
compared notes before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
before we
something that
talked
I was
about Stinky.
considering. We found out that there was maybe a little tiff with some of the neighbors. Something that the shop owner knew little about, but said 10-minute walk from the Embertons is the Johnsons, who spoke with them more recently.
What direction do they live in?
I got that info, so I will pass that along.
Yeah.
They live 10 minutes further out of town than the Ambertons. They live south of the Ambertons.
hmm
Well, south happens to be the direction we're also heading.
Yeah. From what I heard, they might be cannibals. So it may line up with the whole dragon part of him eating.
Well, To be fair,
But
I believe what he said was they are rumored to be cannibals, and given the state that we saw some of the environment in, I can understand why that rumor may have been started.
Cornelius, that's exactly what I just said.
they were also rumored to be stealing bodies, but there aren't any bodies going missing, so
I'm just letting you know it's out on the street.
Joan, you stayed in the house last night. You have all your digits.
Last time I checked,
This
which
is not
was
the
pretty
case.
recently. Yes, I do.
Right.
I do have all of them.
This is absolutely not the case, but I so desperately wish I could be like, Joan, you look down and you've only got 7 fingers now. Right.
It looks like someone
Right.
nibbled on your
Right.
pinky.
Right. You've only got 7 fingers, and y'all are thinking back to that breakfast sausage that you had.
Oh God.
oh god.
If you just
look
like
down.
Hannibal Lectered us right now, it's so
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Man, maybe I would have noticed it if it weren't for all that cocaine and laudanum.
I
Help
do
us sleep,
miss
obviously.
cocaine and laudanum.
Yeah.
Right. Oh God, what a great vaudeville duo, cocaine and laudanum. Right.
Well,
So
the day is burning, and these few have liquor in them. We should get moving.
One shot, Thomas. One shot.
Oh, thank you kindly, madam. Most gracious.
Stinky,
Does the shot and then rubs his finger around the inside of the shot glass.
I'm sorry. Abigail saying one shot was in response to these 3 have liquor in them.
Oh,
I was
I
not
got it.
pouring a shot. I was pointing out that I had a shot.
Okay, well then, much
So
like
I'm afraid Stinky is
Right.
very disappointed. Oh,
Right.
thank you, ma'am.
right,
licking
much like the
No.
marshal, Stinky misunderstood, right, and is now like waiting to be poured a shot. And when that's not happening, he's like, "Oh, madam, might I remind you, there was a mention of a shot coming my way, perhaps."
Stinky,
Hmm.
I would love to call you anything but Stinky. Do you have any other secondary nickname? Maybe childhood nickname?
My-
You
Pissy, drunk.
No, hold on. Name.
Uh,
Stinky has the floor.
Fucking
well,
stinks.
let me think. My pa called me shitbird.
God damn it. Okay. All right.
That's just kind of heartbreaking.
I can smell why.
Why don't you tell us all about it while we go south?
Oh, kindly. And he
Please don't.
just starts rambling.
I already want to weep. I don't know how to fix what's ailing you, friend.
It's clear, right? Whatever story this is, including his father called him shitbird. Like, there's so many inconsistent. Like, there's almost 0% chance this. Like, he's just talking as fast as he can. Like, basically, he's clearly trying to gin up as much sympathy as possible in the hope that someone will take pity on him and give him a drink.
She'll hang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, how much further on did you say?
As you guys are putting this together, like, he takes you very close to the Ambertons' house as you're heading south, right? Not quite on their property, but you can see it clearly, right? Not close enough that Charlotte's coming out with a shotgun again, right? But you can see it clearly. And about 10 minutes beyond that, you see the Johnson's farm. right? And if you listen to Stinky, he'd have you keep going. It's further south than this, right? But if you want to stop and talk to the Johnsons, you are relatively close to their.
A few of us could go speak to them if we don't want to all wait up or seem very intimidating.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on which of us you consider to be the least intimidating.
He
I
kind of
hop
puts a
down from
little
the
hand
carriage.
up.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to keep walking with that fucking drunkard.
Okay, but if we're gonna go have a civil conversation, no pistols?
I'm the one that found out this information. I asked the question.
That's true. That's
Well,
true. Just
actually,
wanted to.
I asked the question.
Stinky
But
and
I
I
mean, we'd
will.
love to have you along, as long as it's we're not scaring the locals.
Stinky and I will stay with the cart.
I will stay out here with Thomas and keep our friend entertained.
Entertainment? Well, let me tell you about the time I wrestled me an alligator to save a baby.
Ms. Broussard, are you interested in joining us, or are you
Yes,
comfortable?
I think I'll join you. A pleasure meeting you, Stinky, and I'll be.
It does not roll off the tongue, does it? Calling a grown man stinky. Something hateful about it, I think.
This gentleman prefers to be called Stinky. Stinky it is.
As I said, you can call me whatever you want for another sip of that bottle.
All in good time. All in good time.
Quick
Do we
caveat:
have glasses?
if you piss your pants in the wagon, that might
Oh,
be
we're going to wait outside. We're going to sit outside.
okay. That's what I was. Okay,
Yes, I'm not a fool.
Maybe everyone who needs to piss should piss now, then.
All right, Thomas. Congratulations on your Benny for making the dad like we're not stopping again.
Okay, I changed my Benny. Let's see if it works. Hell yeah!
Yeah, there you go,
Capybara!
dude.
Fuck.
Oh,
There you go, dude. So officially,
What
if
the goddamn?
you are interested in changing your Benny token, I'm sure Sean would be more than happy to give you some instructions after session.
please.
Great. So as you all approach the house, you see a fairly young couple, mid-20s, right? Step out onto the front porch. Hi, can we help you folk?
Hey there. My name is Friendly Beckett. These are my associates.
Hi, I'm
Involved.
Sally. This is my husband Maurice. What can we do you for?
Well, we're here because we heard tale that you had some kind of dispute with your neighbor.
Oh, are you here to investigate the stolen horse?
Stolen horse, huh? I mean, I suppose we are, aren't we?
Oh, well, wonderful. Well, I mean, we went to the sheriff's office and they wouldn't do a damn thing, would they, Maurice? I mean, those Ambertons, I don't know what kind of money they got or who's backing them, but they're basically untouchable in this town, and it's not fair. I tell you, it's not fair.
It is
We
not
we
fair.
we don't have much means at all, and but
Oh.
what we got fairly, and it's just not right that Jack can come on our property, say about 3 weeks ago, steal one of our horses and ride off to the south. Not a word, not payment, not a conversation, and when we go to talk to the sheriff about it, nothing from him either.
about a week ago, you said?
No, about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Could we? Would you mind giving us a description of that horse, or some kind of coloring, a drawing,
Uh,
maybe?
Well, I mean,
Either
a
of you are so
drawn. It's
skilled.
a horse. Well, I don't know where you come from, friend, but
I mean, there's
like
some different
I
colors
I
of
can.
horses. There's
Well, I mean, it was look, it was
But a horse is a
chestnut.
horse, of course, of course.
All right. Well, there's your
Yeah.
Benny Ted. Congratulations. Like, I mean, everyone's starting to like play at him like a fiddle, but that's fine. Like, I'm here for it. Right.
Got our own game going on here.
right. Like, great. No, she's like, look, it's a horse. I can show we got one other, right?
Just
And
coloring it'd be good.
yeah,
Brown, black,
just brown, chestnut,
spot.
a little white on its nose, but
Mhm.
mostly just
Oh,
brown.
that's very helpful. Okay. I turned to look at Kane and say, write that down.
You telling me to write down the color?
I
We
was
all
just gonna
heard
say,
it.
Oni, did you get singled out to be the guy to write it down again?
I was.
Classic.
I'm gonna say
Oni.
some.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something
Hello.
to you, and this is not me being mean. This is the character. Kane is just gonna say, "You write it down."
I turned to Cornelius. Do you mind writing it down?
It's a brown horse with white spots.
Why the hell can't he write it down?
We'll talk about this later.
Well,
You're activating one of my hindrances.
amazing. So are you said you folks are going to go look for it?
We in a roundabout way, I suppose. So yeah.
Well, I mean, we want that horse back, and if we can't get that horse back, we want compensation.
Sure.
And say we do get that horse back, what kind of compensation would we be offered?
Wait, don't you work for the sheriff?
Hold on. We don't need any compensation for getting a horse back.
Well, that's if they don't get the horse back.
I mean, we'll do our best to get that horse back. If that horse is capable of being returned.
I realize that we haven't really introduced ourselves. No, we do not work for the sheriff. We're actually looking out for the man. If you help us find out, if we find the man, we find your horse. That's what's going on here.
Well, that man, Jack Amberton, took our horse 3 weeks ago and rode off to the south with not a word at all.
A word.
This is excellent information for our investigation, and if you don't have any other information you think we should know about, any rumors, I mean, you're neighbors with those folks, so you might be closest to hearing any scuttlebutt about what's going on in there.
Look, I know they got a real bad reputation around town, but up until they stole this horse, we ain't had no problems with the Amberton. Sure, they're quiet, and sure, they keep to themselves, but we never caused us no harm. And well, Maurice chimes in, well, except that time Jack brought that stew over. Well, yeah, don't eat their cooking.
Noted.
Yeah. You know, I heard this about them as well. I heard they might be considered cannibals. You know, you ain't seen anything. I wanted to make sure all my bases are covered, bro.
Right. Look, well, uh, Maurice and Sally grinned at each other and they're like, "Oh, you can't believe 95% of what that poor proprietor of the general store has to say. He's just bored off his ass and making up as much gossip as he can to see what he can get started."
What the hell is wrong with that man? Oh, okay, yeah.
You both seem like decent people, and we appreciate you giving us a bit of your day to tell us these things. We're gonna go see what we can do about that.
Well, good luck. It's been hard getting all our chores done and all the work around the farm done. 50% of the horsepower we used to have.
Yep.
I believe it. I believe it.
Have a good one. I believe.
All right. You return to hear Stinky rattling on about, and that's the time I found me a chunk of the moon.
One of the two. One of the two bottles I have purchased at this point is probably about half empty.
Okay, awesome.
Between whoever, Stinky, myself, and whoever else wants to drink there.
Right. Like, I'm sure it's some combination. Well, I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's some combination of like just Stinky being so relentless that it's like, here, dude. Like, if it will get you to stop asking for it, here, you can drink some of it.
The moment everyone's gone,
Mhm.
the moment everyone that was leaving or that was going was gone, the bottle got opened.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. Love it.
Occasionally,
All right.
Thomas just holds the bottle for a while, then hands it.
Yes. Yes. Love it. All right. Where to, folks?
Well, we've got some good news and bad news. The good news is a horse has gone missing. The bad news is Jack stole it about 3 weeks ago. Both of these are interchangeable as good news and bad news as I'm seeing it.
Both of those are sort of neutral news. The good news is that we actually know which direction he went, which is south.
Well, that's what I told you right before
So, yep,
I stole a chunk of the moon.
it's like Mr. Stinky said.
You sure do.
Well, Mr.'s worst.
I hope one day you get that moon chunk back, Stinky.
So do I. I gotta stick it back up in that hole I left in the moon before the moon men come after me.
Tell us about the moon man as we go south.
Me, Oni, as a player, wants to kill him so bad.
It was St. Louis, Missouri, 1882, and he just keeps going. All right, as you
Might be my
are
favorite NPC in any game, it's fine.
as you are rolling south, I would like everyone to make me a notice check.
Oh my god.
Hello. There we go.
Hey,
Nice.
too busy driving.
You know what? I'll spend a Benny since
I'll
I've
spend
not
a
done
Benny.
that this
Yeah.
game.
I'll spend a Benny.
I am also
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Your
We're
turn
Oh
too.
yeah, there's an exploding tie. I like to see that.
I'm good with a 9.
oh my
Just that fucking animal.
Oh my god. Okay. It looks like
I was supposed to be up a Benny.
any more dice coming in.
And him everybody throwing bennies.
Yeah.
Man,
Y'all
Right,
fucking
it, I-
done.
right. I mean, everyone sees it's 12:45. It's like, fuck it, man. Let's get rid of these bennies.
Yeah.
Let's go.
yeah,
Right.
That's a good
Smoke
point.
'em if
Yeah.
you
Why
got
not,
'em.
man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh shit, I accidentally spent an extra one.
Okay, everyone. Now, wisdom saving throw.
Oh, I
My
gotta
bad.
remember that. I can bait you into using all your bennies and then get you.
Yep. Buzzer beater.
Right. All right. It still appears to be the case that Abigail has the highest with the 9. So she is the first to see along the trail there is a dead squirrel, right? What's
That's
unusual
so fun. That's just so funny. It's so normal.
right. What's unusual about this dead squirrel, right, is that you can see no injuries, right? But the body, right, is completely desiccated. It looks like a shriveled up sort of prune of a squirrel.
Well, that's fairly strange. Dry as a desert. One
And
thing.
maybe 5 or 6 minutes down the road, you see another critter. Same situation.
Okay. One's happenstance, twice is a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidence. Everyone, eyes open. I will, with zero hesitation, pick up the little carcass and start poking through it. Cut it
Okay.
open if I have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly dead, right? And it's not mummified, right? But it is desiccated. And with your knowledge, you don't even have to roll for it. Like I don't know that you've seen this before, right? But you've certainly read about things like this where over a long period of time, right? Things like this can happen to a corpse, right? But in those cases, all of the other things that happen to flesh, dead flesh, over a long period of time also happen. And none of that is true here, right? This happened very recently, weeks, if not days, right? And that is true for both of the specimens you find. And as you continue south, you find more of those specimens.
Stinky, how close are we to where you were attacked?
Oh, well, I mean, it couldn't have been more than 5 or 10 minutes of the trail here when that giant silver beast flew down from the moon trying to reclaim the moon rock that I had stolen. And had it not been for my alcohol-induced flexibility and agility, I might have been swept up and been on my way back to the moon as we speak. But no, the 250-foot Leviathan would not have me that day, sir.
Stinky, you're a true warrior.
Well, thank you kindly, sir, for recognizing that fact and understanding that a true warrior sometimes has to drink to calm his nerves. Um, as you travel on, you hear the sound of flowing water. You come to a small clearing at the side of a creek. Unfortunately, you see a brown horse with a white nose that looks like two much smaller corpses that you had just seen. You also see something else across the river, or creek, I should say, not really a river. You see, forget about the
What?
name as you hover over the token, but you see a desiccated human corpse. Let's see if I can show this to you. There we go. Never mind the background here. He is certainly stretched out in the out of doors. Right? Skin stretched tightly over his face, lips peeled back, gums completely white. And based on the description, it is safe to assume that you have found Professor Jack Amberton. As you see him, you hear a large screech, and flying through the sky, swooping down, relatively close to you guys, but then back up and to a tree across the way, you see this fine fellow.
Oh my god.
Oh, oh.
Is it
Well,
big or little?
Yeah, what's the size?
That's a big boy, right? It's no,
Oh god.
right. It's no 250-foot Goliath as
Leviathan.
right
A
as
mechalope.
right as Stinky would have you believe, right? But this creature is taken perch and is certainly aware of all of you. And I think this is a fine place to call session.